March 19th at 9:12. Let's stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Dan Blanchett.
Jim Nickel.
Jim Bagoulis.
Don Thomas.
Heidi Youngworth.
Kieran Farrell.
And we're just missing Ron. So I don't know if he's emailed in.
Yes, he did. I saw that he's an excused website.
Okay, perfect. All right. Start with public comment. With anybody new?
There's nobody else. I'd like to go. My name is Christy Thornton. This is my husband, Matt Thornton. We are locals. We live in North Fort Myers. We have a ranch there, but I come down to the beach often. I'm actually a respiratory therapist at Health Park by trade, but I see there's a huge traffic problem here, and so I came up with a plan to fix it. And if you could give me a few minutes, I'd like to present my idea.
Certainly.
And I have some flyers here. You guys can pass them around too. I have a diagram. And I think you guys are going to appreciate this too. This is going to help everybody. Also, just to add a safety feature to my carts, I am certified trained. Obviously, I'm a respiratory therapy supervisor. And most of my drivers are going to be respiratory therapists from Health Park because they love my idea too.
Extras.
I'm also going to put AEDs on my cart because, you know, after dark, it's really scary on the beach. There's nothing around, nobody around to help. So here's my plan. Let's see. Let me put this over here so everybody can see. You all see that? Okay, we bought property on San Carlos Boulevard, about 1.5 miles back from Fort Myers Bridge. It's about a half an acre. It's got 100 feet of water line here, which we're eventually going to run a water taxi out of here. But for now, we're going to run golf carts that are chauffeured by us and our team that are going to be 8-seaters. And what we would like to do is run a route to come pick up people from this far park and ride by Summerlin, loop back around, go to this parking lot, the park and ride by the bridge, come back down. I envision 6 different routes to keep traffic moving. A left and a right route that comes off of the bridge, and we need to keep these real short. Just loop back around underneath the bridge and go back over the bridge and service these park and rides. Both left and a right route. I think we need medium routes that come here. This would be down around Diamond Head, and it would loop back around on the side street and come back around and then service back out to the park and ride. This right-hand loop, the medium route would service the condominiums that are about halfway down to Bow Ditch. And what we would like to do is 3 times a day, offer a service to Publix and to Bow Ditch and back to these park and rides. What we would hope that Lee County would help us do is use their tram, keep the tram off of the beach on the weekends. The tram is holding up traffic. It's not doing anybody any good. It gets stuck in traffic like everybody else. And in fact, when it gets down by Nervous Nellies, it actually clogs up traffic. So my proposal is keep the tram off the beach, keep the tram just servicing this area here, and we, with our golf carts, will pick up people here and take them all over the beach on a hop-on, hop-off service for a $17 wristband, cheaper than it is to park on Fort Myers Beach. You can park at our property, you can park at this park and ride. This park and ride, hopefully Fort Myers Beach or Lee County will build another bigger parking lot so that we can service it. If we had enough golf carts that are constantly doing these short, medium, and long routes, nobody would ever have to park on Fort Myers Beach again. That's my proposal. We're called Trippin'. I'm rolling this out. I bought this property, I'm going out on a ledge, my husband's supporting me, I'm trying to get out of healthcare.
So I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Awesome idea. Have you spoken with anybody at Lee County about the, like when you pick them up, one of the things that I always think is, you know, the park and ride that's over by Walmart,
Yeah.
it's great, but you still hit traffic. You're still clogged up in that traffic,
Right.
you know, all the way up Old San Carlos. Or
So
San Carlos.
our hope is, went to the city council meeting 2 weeks ago. I missed the one yesterday because I was out on the beach actually promoting our business. But my hope is that Lee County would work with us and let us use the bus lanes, the emergency lanes, the middle lane down the beach, because nothing is moving on this beach.
Right.
It is completely gridlocked. I've been here, you all were here the shrimp weekend, and then this last weekend was horrendous. And if we don't fix this problem now, nobody's gonna come back to Fort Myers Beach. So I'm in this innovation group with Lee Health. I was chosen to be in this group. I'm in a think tank right now. So what I did was I did focus groups. I did them 6 consecutive weekends in a row, and I talked to people. I walked the routes. I saw where the clog points were. This is gonna work. It's gonna fix all the problems. Keep the cars off of the beach. My 1-year plan after this is to provide a water taxi from San Carlos Island just across the waterway. It's gonna also be cheaper than parking because you can get a round trip boat ride. Maybe we'll poke out for the sunset on the last one back, and it'll be a little extra perk. My 2-year plan is we wanna have a ferry service from Fort Myers Beach that services Sanibel. We'll also have our tripping carts on Sanibel. So you can fly into Fort Myers, we'll come get you from the airport on a golf cart, take you to your resort over the bridge, and then you can go to Sanibel for a day trip if you want, where you get on our tripping carts there. You get back on our boat. If you want to go to Cape Harbor, we're going to go there, swing by, pick up people there, and make a loop back to Fort Myers Beach. There would be absolutely no reason to park on Fort Myers Beach. There will be 3 different ways to get here without a car.
I just have a question.
Yep.
How can you run San Carlos Boulevard in a golf cart? This
is
golf
what-
carts only go like 25 miles an hour.
Right, so we would need a tram for this service here with this gas powered, and that's where we're going to try to ask Lee County to help us. Because this is my plan, this is my thought. If we could keep the trams just doing this loop on the weekends, and then the golf carts are only on the beach, and then we have a south loop with the tram services Publix and back to like Lover's Key, and we pick them up here, and only keep golf carts on this strip and over the bridge. It would greatly reduce traffic. I'm thinking like 70%. There's no place to park. These people sat in traffic for 4 hours and got here and there was no place to park. That word's gonna get out. Nobody's happy on this beach right now. These tourists are not happy. They're not gonna come back if we don't fix this problem.
I have some questions, but does anybody have any comment?
Moving up and down Estero Boulevard, you're still going to have a lot of gridlock. How are you going to move your golf carts?
We need access to the bike lanes, the emergency lanes, and the center lane to be able to keep our carts moving and the flow moving.
Well, in the downtown area, of course, there are none of the above.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we are gonna get stuck just like some other, the other folks in traffic, but if this works, and we get the support of Fort Myers Beach, and we can get some grants to have enough golf carts that are always circulating with a hop-on, hop-off wristband that you never have to carry a wallet for. And by the way, we want to cater to locals because nobody else does. So give them a month wristband that's more like a silicone semi-permanent wristband. If you only have to go 4 blocks to work or 6 blocks to work, leave your car at home and get on our cart. So we want to do things like that. The other thing that I didn't mention is I am a big proponent of handicapped accessible, so I do want to provide bucket list sunset trips for those folks that are too sick to get to the beach one last time. I'm medical, my sister's medical, and my husband can design a special wheelchair cart that I can take down the beach. I'll get them on my golf cart, I'll get them on that beach cart, and I'll take them for their last sunset with a picnic. That's going to be a community service that I'm going to offer, and it's not going to be very expensive. It's going to be very affordable. The other thing I thought about doing is remote sunset trips where you could get in my cart and I'll provide a picnic basket and I'll take you to another beach that's not here with the madding crowd so you can watch the sunset and I'll come back and pick you up in 2 hours. I will help fire, I'll help PD because I am medical and I'll have an AED on all of my carts. And at night, we're gonna have a little bit low lighting so that we're a presence on the beach because it is dark on the beach and if you're walking to your car by yourself, it's a little bit scary as a female. I've done it. At 11 o'clock at night, I had to walk way down the beach and I was worried.
So one of the things that we discussed at the joint meeting with town council was obviously the flow of traffic, and we talked about a golf cart lane, and I know that we talked with Tom about developing a path
Yeah.
from around Beach Baptist as far north as we could go and create an area. And actually, I got stuck behind the tram this weekend at 6
Yeah.
miles an hour with no traffic. There was no traffic anywhere. And
Yeah.
it was 4 cars, and it took us forever to get up the beach. So I wanted to move the tram over there as well. But have you spoken with the town? I mean, this just came up a week and a half ago. I know they're in the works of doing some things.
I went to the town council meeting, it was 3 weeks ago, I believe. I put a PowerPoint, an abridged version of this. I didn't do logistics on my PowerPoint. I gave them the abridged version, about 10 slides, and they have not gotten back to me. I've called and I've left messages, and they haven't gotten back to me. So I'm appealing to you folks. I think you all know that we need something like this. We need to reduce the traffic on Fort Myers Beach. If we can make it more, if there's more incentive to park off of Island and ride a cart here and not have to worry about anything once you get on Fort Myers Beach, because you always have a ride, nobody would park here.
So that was my question. What are you asking the safety committee to help you with or to do, or to address?
Use of the emergency lanes and the middle lane down Estero Boulevard and the bike lanes when we need to. Otherwise, if the traffic is moving, which obviously it's not, but if we have enough carts eventually, even the flow of traffic is going to be better. And everybody's going to benefit from this. So I need to know what permits do I need to, first of all, what permits do I need to operate on this beach? Secondarily, I need use of the emergency lanes, bus lanes, bike lanes, to keep the flow of traffic moving. And I need to know about grant applications because I'm coming out of pocket. My husband's a retired contractor, and we have gone all chips in on my idea. We sold a house in the yacht club because I know this is going to work and we need this. So we bought this property on San Carlos Boulevard. It's a wing and a prayer, but this is going to work.
Well, I think, does anybody have it? Because I was going to say something.
Go right ahead.
I was going to say, I think our best bet is to put you in touch with somebody that you can talk with at the town, because I honestly do not know all the answers of what permits you would need to do all of that. I know that we've brought up some ideas that are just coming to fruition, and Tom, who I'll introduce a little bit, is is going to be working with the town, because there's so many things going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about, so that people aren't doubling up. But if this is acceptable to you, we will, got your information. I think you have
Please.
everything on here. I will send, do you have an email on here?
Well, it's very faint. We printed this up at the last minute, so yes,
I
it
can
is at
read
the
it.
bottom.
That's
It's-
fine.
Our parent company is Island Seekers, and we are a property management company of just a few of our properties that we manage with that. And my company that I'm watching is Trippin', because you can go tripping on Fort Myers Beach with a wristband. You don't even need your wallet, you don't need an app, you don't need anything but a wristband. You can get shit-faced drunk, and I'll take you all over this beach and get you home safely.
I will, when we're out of this meeting, I'll do a joint email, and I'll connect with who I think, and I'll include Tom. And Tom, if I'm forgetting somebody, I'm gonna have him, you add to it, and then hopefully you can get the ball rolling on that, on
Awesome.
that end.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
What are your thoughts about where you would stop?
Well, I do have a plan for that. My first stop, obviously, is going to be the park and ride. Once I get over here, I'm going to stop right, I'm going to turn right here and stop at this corner at Surf Style. And this one would either be, this stoplight needs to be fixed right here at Margaritaville. It's really clogging up traffic, but I would have to stop. I was going to go talk to Margaritaville today and see if I
I was
would be
gonna
able to
suggest
use
that.
that. Yeah.
They could be good partners.
You know that little, where they have the little shack for their pool? They have like a little area that I could just hop up there, pick people up and hop back on. And then I want to make a stop either at the Lonnie Kai or the Diamond Head, because if I can turn left on Virginia and make this loop back out on Ohio, I can come out on Estero Boulevard and pop back out on the bridge pretty easily. And this short route would just, this first one would go down Old San Carlos, loop under the bridge and go back up. But the medium route I'd have to figure out, and that's where I need some help because I'm not really from Fort Myers Beach, where the medium route would turn around would be where the condos, you know, I know we have a lot of construction going on. Those people need rides too. And those people also have cars that are clogging up the beach. So if we can give them a ride, and there's no reason to take their car anywhere, we're gonna service that medium route down to, and then that far route down to Bow Ditch. Because I did a lot of focus groups, and Bow Ditch is like, everybody's coming, they don't wanna come to Bow Ditch anymore because of the traffic. So not only are we losing our local support for Fort Myers Beach, but word is gonna get out real quick that this is just, nobody wants to sit in traffic for 2 hours before you go to the beach.
Yeah. How many cars do you envision you would be able to park? In other words, keep off the island by doing this?
Well, at our property, this was zoned an auto dealership right before the hurricane got wiped out, but this is able to park 40 cars. This park and ride, I don't know what this capacity is. I wouldn't know right off the top of my head, but this park and ride needs to be redesigned. There's so much more room here that could be used, but there's grass and dirt and everything. It's like, make some more parking. And then right behind this park and ride, there's another big lot, and I don't know if Fort Myers Beach, the city owns that, but they really need to expand off-island parking. Stop worrying about on-island parking and stop working on off-island solutions. This island is tapped out.
You are aware that anything on the other side of the bridge is Lee County, and on this side of the bridge, it is the town.
Yep, I'm gonna work on
So,
Lee County.
yeah, it's gonna be.
But I need the community support
I think it's a very
first.
creative idea, and I see a lot of potential in it. You have to you have to have partners. It would not, I think you should
Yeah.
involve the Chamber of Commerce. You ought to talk to Jackie Lezak.
Jackie Lezak.
She's the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and just discuss your concept with her as a potential business on the island.
Awesome.
And as well as servicing businesses, I think you could have partners involved in this that would be helpful to you.
I'm actually looking for multiple partners because I can't afford a taxi boat. But if I can find a captain that has his own boat, his own insurance, and just wants to put my brand on it and I can advertise, that's what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for other partners with all of the resorts. I want to cater to the people that have stuck it out here and have endured this painful time of COVID and then the hurricane. This place needs help, and I can do it. I can help get people to these outlying, resorts that have been forgotten about, and they're going to rebuild. And we can service that whole thing. And if I have the tram servicing Publix South and Walmart to the bridge, I can handle all this in between. And we need the help. This is the other thing, we need the help of Lee County. These trams need to stay off the beach.
Are you looking at electric carts or
Electric.
gas?
Electric. Unless we have to service this, then we're gonna have to do gas. But I would rather invoke the help of Lee County, get those trams off the beach. They're not doing anybody any good. Service this area and service the South Beach. Let me do everything in the middle.
Well, we'll get the ball rolling. We'll appreciate the concept and your ideas. We love seeing the new things that people want to do because we all know that the traffic is a bottleneck for sure. And I will, after this meeting, I will get an email out
Awesome.
to everybody.
I really
Get that
appreciate
done.
everybody's time.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other public comment? No. Okay, approval of the minutes from February 27th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Minutes are approved. Staff reports and updates.
Do you want to do
That's what I was saying. Should we do fire first? And then EMT, I think, I'm guessing it's all,
I'm riding the fire truck today, so I brought the whole team.
I wondered, okay.
Yeah.
Good to see them.
Show and tell.
Yes. So for February, you'll see, last couple of months, we've had even distribution between fire and EMS, about 50-50. We're starting to see the EMS creep up a little bit, back to our normal levels. Normally EMS is like 75%. The second page I started doing last month is kind of a breakout of the trauma type calls from our system. So there's only one on here that is a vehicle versus bicycle. We see a lot of slip, trip, and stumble type calls. And other than that, there's not a whole lot that jumps out. You see one with a power tool injury there. I will say, I think this month, the report coming up next time around, I am hearing a few more this month of us running on vehicle versus pedestrian, vehicle versus bicycle.
Really?
It's spring break, there's more people out there renting bikes and stuff, so I'm not surprised, but I think the numbers will be a little bit different next month.
Are you hearing, are they mostly in the congested north end? Or is it all over?
Actually, I'm just doing it off of memory because I see all the calls on my
Yeah.
phone. I think it's been spread out. I'm not sure it's all on the north end. I do know we are busier up in the Times Square area
Yeah.
with everybody that's here right now.
Okay.
So that's it on the run calls. The other thing that we had from last month was the meeting at EOC,
Yes.
the meet and greet.
Yep.
And so we had worked back and forth on some dates and times. We put out, you had mentioned May 7th and May 14th.
Yep.
May 7th would be the day that works for the county.
Okay.
The 14th will be in a hurricane seminar or training or something. And I proposed either 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. If either one of those is good with you, either of those will work for the county. If those time of days don't work, let me know and I'll throw some other times out.
Do you guys want to just do 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock on the
May
7th.
7th?
Yeah.
Okay.
May 7th or 17th?
7th.
We'll work out logistics to get there.
Yeah, will you email us all the address and all that good stuff?
Yeah, we'll get that all to you.
Okay.
Excuse me, Chief, on the bike and auto accident, do we know whereabouts that was? Was that north end, south end? Just kind of curious if that was, they were in a bike lane or kind of one of the combined.
I don't know on that one. I can find out. I didn't have an address line on this report, but I can look at the report.
Okay, great. Just trying to figure out if it's in a bike lane or if it's in the combined area where it's cars and bikes together.
What I'll probably have for my reporting will be an address.
Yeah,
And it could
which
be
will help.
adjacent to where it happened. It may not say it was actually in the bike lane.
Right.
But I'll see what the report says.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on reporting?
Do anything, Jim? Nope, we're good.
Okay. And then I think the last thing for me is the app for doing the sidewalk inspections.
Yep.
I think it's working okay.
Did you get our stuff? I mean, has anybody, because I did mine. I want to make sure it worked.
They will be there, so
Okay, good.
when we're ready, when everybody says they're done, we'll get a hold of GIS and then they'll provide
Okay.
provide Jason the full report.
Okay.
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 It compliments whoever set the app up.
Yeah, it was
It's
pretty
just- It was very slick.
Well, I heard you guys talking and I know what Amy can do at GIS for the county.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's terrific.
No, thank you so much for setting that up for us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll find out after we get through staff updates where we're at with everything and then let you know, but I don't know if everybody did theirs or not. It's pretty easy.
They don't even have the app yet. He's
Yeah,
gonna
we
he's
got
gonna
it.
set me up.
Okay.
I have none.
It's pretty slick. Okay. All right. That's
Anything else
it.
for me?
No?
That's it.
Thank you,
Appreciate your
Chief.
time. I have another meeting.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, guys.
Chief,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks. I'll reach out to you next week.
Bye, guys.
Okay,
Chief. I'd eventually remember.
Yeah, he's not used to carrying that.
we
You
obviously
safe
don't
out there.
have LCSO, but do we want to, as staff report, have Tom introduce himself? And for those who were not at the, yeah, I think we had a couple that didn't go to the joint meeting. This is Tom Yazzo. And is it, did I pronounce it right? Yazzo?
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yazzo.
And he is new with the Fort Myers Beach. I'm going to let him talk about his role and then we'll talk a little bit about what he's doing and how he's going to help us in communication and back and forth.
Hopefully, that's my goal.
Yes,
So,
ours too.
I've been here for about a year now, actually. I got hired March 13th of last year. I came in as a base supervisor when base was still that. So I basically took on the role of getting our records updated, doing some different stuff with that. I did some supervision on the beach and the street as well. About 6 months ago, I took over as the manager of the operation for base. I was recently asked to take on code as well and then pick up public safety. My goal here is, and what I think what we're working towards is trying to get more information out to everybody, trying to get this information to the right people. Like this lady's presentation today is a great idea. I admire her intensity to it and want to work in. There's a lot of challenges that I don't think she's really thought of. There's a ton of that to that, and I think it's a great idea, and I could love to see something like that happen. But she's asking for the county, just from safety issue, she's asking for the county to come in and take over their park and ride. She's talking about going through emergency lanes. She's talking about cutting traffic onto the island, which would mean you'd have to restrict people from coming onto the island, which is almost impossible. It's a public roadway. So anyway, there's a lot of challenges. So my goal is to kind of be part of that and try to help people navigate some of it, but put her in the right place. And there's a lot of planning and zoning that would have to come into this, and permitting. With you guys, I would like to be able to say, what do you see? And what can I do to help you with my people? I have code guys there, so if you see something that looks odd, I can set my code people to, code officers. If we see something on the beach that's an issue, or we're talking about we were discussing the sidewalks. So I know you guys have each taken a piece of that, you're gonna go through that and take a look at where your issues are. And I asked if we get PW involved right away. Why don't we have Public Works involved? And he explained to me that Estero is county property, and the fact that their PW has to do it. Well, do we take liability by not having them involved in this right from the start to say, okay, we've identified these issues as town representatives, because we are town representatives, and we didn't have somebody there who could fix it. So we at least notify the right the right authority. Does that then alleviate our issue on the end of saying, hey, we knew about it, but we didn't do anything? Because the town is really starting to see a huge issue with trip and falls, as the chief just said. And a lot of that comes back to us. So the insurance company's constantly sending me to go out and take photos. I have my people out taking photos. We're doing logistics on trying to get stuff squared away. And one of those items were down on Old San Carlos, where there was a broken storm drain space that we had known. We put cones on. We were waiting to get some more information on how to get it repaired. Somebody drunk, I won't use how she said it, but they were intoxicated, decided to move the cone, and then the next person who was intoxicated went through the hole. So it's an issue. So this is the stuff that I think should be addressed, and I think this is a good resource to make that happen. So my background is I was a police officer in New York for 22 years. I retired from the police department, had a couple businesses. I worked for Homeland Security as a private contractor doing personal protection through Manhattan, the Bronx, and Brooklyn. Going into Jersey a little bit. I did that for almost 8 years. I shut down my business last year when I decided to come here full time. So,
Are you going to stay through this whole meeting so if we have questions as we go?
yeah, I'm
Awesome.
here.
Okay,
I'm here
good.
with you the whole time.
Then we won't grill you until we get to that area.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything, Jason, for you for update or no?
No, I mean, just thank you all. I think Tom's gonna be great as, I'm helping him out with it, transitioning
Thank
everything over
God.
to him, so. But I'm always here at the town too if you need me. We're working with Tom on a lot of different projects and everything, so I think he's a great asset to the town. We're glad to have him.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate you turning it over to him, because I was a floundering fish. You're waiting for him to tell me what I had to do.
You don't have to do much.
We're pretty easy.
Yes.
Very good.
It really is the communication, because we have lots of questions too, and that sometimes, like, as we said in our joint meeting, when we know what the town is doing, a lot of times it's common sense. So if we know you're doing it, then we can keep up abreast and make sure that we're not doubling up on things or asking you to do something that's making it more tedious. So,
The only extra thing I think I have is just the town attorney still will be doing a sunshine public records training with you all. So I would anticipate that at your next meeting.
Okay.
But we'll make sure you all know, we'll put that on the agenda as well, so. I think there's only one other committee other than yourself that she's gonna do that training with, and then we'll probably do it annually after that, so.
Okay, great. Okay, sidewalk project, as we were just discussing. Just let us know who has got, let's say who's gotten them done. Jim, you said you were done.
Complete.
I'm done.
I'm not complete.
Negative.
It's pretty
No.
simple. If you have the app to download on your phone, and you just have to
Yeah.
enable the camera function as the biggest thing, and then it's pretty slick.
I have taken care of downloading the app and so forth. I've had a little bit of a issue getting around the last few weeks, so, but I did, before the gout kicked up, I took a ride on my bike and noticed that most of the issues in my area are around curbing.
I agree with that. That's where a lot of
Yeah.
our mine were too. Okay. Well,
Are you looking primarily for hazards or anything? Because for example, in front of our place, the sidewalk got stained terribly. It's just like somebody poured black paint on it. Of course, now it's wearing a little off, but not the way it was before the storm.
I don't know exactly.
And I don't even know if they would care about that.
They
'cause
wouldn't care, yeah.
It doesn't affect the use of the sidewalk in any
I would go
It's an
with
apparent
safety
hazard.
hazards. So the 3 issues they have on the app is a trip and fall, missing sidewalk, and then other. And I mean, if we're beautifying the city, yes.
I
but
could
if-
mention,
Yeah.
if you see something like that, I
Yeah.
suppose I could mention.
Um,
So I didn't include
Yeah.
like cosmetic things.
And
Right, that's
curbing
what
could
this
be
is.
considered.
And I didn't do the
fall.
curb either. I didn't do where the curb was chinked up. I did the sidewalk only, where people would,
Yeah.
there's quite a few spots where the curb has a chunk out of it, but it's
Yeah,
not
and
gonna.
if you step off the curb at the,
Yeah.
unfortunate
Yeah.
spot, you could create a trip and fall.
So a couple of key things that I saw, one was like the curb, if it was a big section, if it was a little like cosmetic, I didn't include
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but one was a big chunk missing, so I documented that. There's some things like right across from the old town hall, there's a construction fence that's on the sidewalk, which should be on their property. And while it's on the sidewalk, it restricts flow of the sidewalk, plus the feet of the fence are trip hazards. So I think, just through this exercise, I thought it was very productive because I wouldn't even noticed it. But as you're walking, you're like, yeah, wait, why is this here?
Yeah.
So there's
Were they
some
tearing a
things-
building down there? I saw
Well,
in
they're
one
just-
case they were tearing a building down. They moved the fence out over the sidewalk
Yeah.
because they didn't want pedestrians walking by while they were knocking the building down.
This
But-
is far in,
Ah.
so it's one of those things like probably an easy fix and could prevent someone from
Sounds good.
from doing that. And then just little things like even sand that had blown onto the sidewalk, onto the road, into the bike lane. So bike was come along, saw the sand, veered into traffic, and then back around. So just simple things. I think this is a great exercise just for this time around, but I think it's something that we do more on a regular basis, part of this committee, because I think it's always evolving. And that app is super easy, and it could be just anytime you're on Fort Myers Beach, you find a location and report that in. So that it was, definitely a good way of approaching and helping Tom as far as the trips and falls.
And just to be clear, that was over by the old town hall, you were saying?
Yeah.
That fencing that's up there now, in that space,
On the
Beach side?
Gulf, beach side.
on the beach side, okay.
But that's in if you pull out the report.
I don't know if do you get these reports, and just does Chief Worth
That's
group
what we
get
can
it?
figure out.
We were just talking about that,
Yeah.
so where they're going.
Because I was thinking the same thing when you're bringing
Yeah.
up liability. We need to make sure that when we're doing this, if it's a once every 2 weeks, there's some kind of output that you're getting, so you go, okay, this is what people are saying, or
You gotta
we missed
address
it.
That
Yeah.
was my
Yeah.
thought process. Like,
Yeah.
these reports are fantastic,
Where are they?
but where are they going?
How do you get them?
Yes, and how
A
do I
black
get them,
hole.
and does the county get them directly, or I'm gonna reach out to the county DPW and try to get a director over there and just find some of this stuff, but I'll dig into it with Jason on
Okay.
where that goes.
Fantastic.
Okay. All right, public safety campaign and messaging. I think this whole, I don't know if this section, I know I keep saying, I think a lot of the things that I want to talk about when we get to member items have to go with the liaison, with the meeting that we had, such as some of the issues that, or not issues, but ideas that they want us to work on that would go into a public safety campaign and messaging, such as neighborhood watch or the hurricane plan, and all the other things that we listed in here. But I don't know if we want to talk about it now or if we want to go into new items.
If I could, under messaging, we had talked, I think, right before the storm about the possibility of having an electronic sign at the big, when you come on the island, one about mid-island, one on the other end, that the town would be able to put messaging on, and it could be sometimes just reminding people, stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk while you're, other ones could be, there's an evacuation that has been, order has been put out, you should be evacuating the island. I mean, just things we could put on this sign on a consistent basis to provide, because our clientele out here change. It's not like we're a town
Yeah.
of 100, people or 500 people or 1,000 people that are always here.
Right.
It's different people every day. So if you don't have a way to communicate things to those people on a pretty consistent basis, we can put together all the great flyers and all the great plans, but they're never going to get the information to the people that are showing up today for a one-week stay, and then they go away.
Well, that's something we can propose to town council in our notes to say that we'd like it researched, something like that, because you're
Yeah,
gonna need one of
because
the.
you could
Well, it's probably going to be something with the county too, because it's probably going to be along the county
Well, you
right
think
away.
about it, the LCSO had that board that was up, that was electronic.
Right.
That they had at the base of the bridge during the hurricane, residents only, or whatever they said. I mean, something like that, if you can make it nicer, that's permanent.
Oh, yeah, it has to be
that we
something
manage.
nice and maybe more
You know,
permanent.
because you could put on there like, must have lights on your bike, or, different little blurbs, just short
Exactly.
things that,
So many little things you could put it into that, and it would be just a constant reminder as people go by to see it. And if it's different every day, people will look. If it's the same thing every day, they stop looking.
right.
Maybe what we can do as a group is we could come up with do some research to see, and just Google research to figure out what other towns are doing. I mean, they've got to have signage. I saw something that I was going to bring up on my notes, but, and propose it to the town to say we'd like them to research into something like this. Because right now, I know the sheriff brings it out and they hold it down with sandbags.
Right.
Or it's on
Those are
on a
temporary.
trailer, a
Those are
temporary.
temporary things.
Right, but we could get something a little nicer that you can do on the south end, north end, and I like the idea of it's tourist season. Stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk, or,
Right.
watch for this, or.
Cross at the crosswalk.
Cross at
only.
crosswalks, how about
Yes.
that novel concept?
That is very
But things like that.
That'd be refreshing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to take on Google researching it yourself, or do you want?
I'll look into it a little.
Okay, or send an email, and, I mean, I can look too. Let's see if we can come up with, show them some ideas of what other towns have done, and maybe we can give it to the town and see what they can come up with. Okay,
You're talking about on the Estero, correct?
Yeah,
it's
like
gonna-
right as you're coming on the
I would think it would
bridge.
have to be on Estero. That's the main drag.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I agree. We're gonna have to, just in that thought process, get FDOT and lead DOT
Right.
involved in that, because there's restrictions as to size.
Right.
You know, you can put there that are not, when they're not temporary, if it's not an emergency board, which some of these are, so just something to think about.
Sure.
Right. I don't even know what they would tolerate, to tell you the truth.
So I think that would be a good start.
Right.
Sorry, not to.
No, that's good.
No, you're fine. Let me think of something. Okay. All right, next is, well, going back to public safety campaign and messaging. Once we go through some of these items, that's where I think they need to fall under the public safety campaign, like some of the things we would like the PIO to put out to the,
Right.
the residents. So we can make bullet points of that once we get to there, when we start going through our member items. You can interrupt if you want.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh,
We
yeah,
can be a
you're-
little fluid.
you're
You
part
just-
of our-
Yeah.
Just talk. You
Yeah,
can
so-
just talk.
So the PIO, I don't know historically, I was asking, does she just do it on her website and then local, or does she do press releases?
She's supposed to do everything. I think she's in charge of everything, so she's the whole of all the marketing arm.
So I was just thinking, that's something I think you would have to request, though, that she does a full press release as opposed to just putting it on her website.
Yeah.
It'd be something you guys would have to ask for, I would think, just so she's clear, just with guidance.
Right. That was one of the things, and I spoke to her after the joint meeting. I would love to see her at these meetings, or at least have us do an overview of what we talked about, because if she's already got things planned, for example, let's say April is Fire Prevention Month, I don't know what it is, and she's gonna be doing a ton of messaging already, we don't wanna overload the people, because they're not gonna read it, and they're not gonna pay attention. So if she has a calendar of what she's already set up for her social media posts and all that, then we need to either follow suit or give her tips and ask her and show her different things to work on. Neighborhood watch, that's something that we come up with. We have, there's somebody at LCSO will come up and speak to your neighborhood. We've already done this once before. It's another thing that we can pull out of I think of it like a file cabinet. We pull that thing back out, she publicizes it. It's probably the same liaison that they had in the past, and she promotes that twice a year, whatever it is. And then same with traffic. She pulls that out twice a year when the pedestrians start getting worse and during So I kind of see it as an arsenal that, so she's not reinventing the wheel, because it's really not going to be that different each time. Okay. I'll send an email to her as well. All right. Bicycling updates. This is the one I would love to take off this thing, but that's fine.
I mean, I don't,
I don't think
we don't have any.
We have nothing, yeah. So I'm just going to skip this because it bothers me anyway, because we have nothing going on at this point with bicycling.
Did you have something? No.
No. Okay.
I think we just need to take that off our agenda for a while.
I would like to take that off the agenda.
Can we take that off our agenda for a while?
All right.
Absolutely.
It's our committee.
Yeah.
Whew.
I've been asking. I'm like, I want it off.
Tom, is there anything from your side that you're doing on bicycle lanes?
So the bike, you did get the report, correct? Jason sent out the report that they had from the
Yes.
the old bicycling.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
2017,
that was
yeah.
one of my questions.
Okay.
Did people, that when I got to my things,
Yeah,
so.
sorry, I didn't mean to-
That's fine. No, jump in.
Yeah, so I think that the bicycling is an issue here now that we have these electronic assisted bikes. We know that, we talked about it.
Yep.
I started putting up signage on the street, now they're temporary signs, I'm waiting for to have the signs created. They've already been approved, we're waiting, the artwork's approved, we're waiting for it to come back, they're gonna be attached to the poles. We were gonna do that, I ordered 40 to start, to spread up and down the island, focusing mostly on the more touristy space at the north. But we are gonna move that down. If you have any places where you'd like to see one on a street post, we will definitely do it. They do have to be on a street post where they're gonna see it from the sidewalks, and we're gonna cap the post on both sides. It only allows us to say, hey, you know this, you've looked at it. If you didn't see the sign, I'm sorry, but it's there. So it allows us and LCSO to then address it with our residents and our guests. So that's part of what we're doing for that. We are working on it on the beach as well. I don't know if you've noticed, we did put up the new signs on most of the beach access, about no vehicles on the beach. That has solved it a little bit. We had 2 people last weekend drive out right past the sign, to go out on the beach. Our people caught them before they went too far and grabbed hold of them, which is a big safety issue for us out there, especially now with the berms. They go up and they slide over the berm, but people are laying on the berms. So
Yeah.
that's part of what we're addressing with people too for education on that side. I don't know if I'm changing pace, I'm sorry.
No.
It's perfect.
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
This
it's
is,
perfect.
we're a little more fluid in here.
So that being said, we're going to address some of the bikes, the e-bikes downtown as well. I'm gonna have a couple signs down there. If you have a different recommendation or a different thought process to handle that, I was gonna try to partner with the businesses to put up bike racks in a certain space, but have something on their bike rack. Be conscious pedestrians on your e-bikes or something, and we're gonna figure out something with that for a safety issue down there with our partners that are running businesses down there, because they want the traffic by all means, but they also don't want somebody getting clipped by one of these bikes, and this is gonna start to happen, we know that, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
So, that's what I have so far on the bike issue.
So refresh my memory, what are the signs saying?
They say warning, no motor vehicles, no bikes, motor vehicles on the sidewalk at any time. And these are actually motorized vehicles, even though they're electric bike, there's different schedules to them, but they're a motorized vehicle because they're a motorized assist vehicle.
Are they still, last time they were saying if you're pedaling your electric bike, you're okay? Or it's just like
So-
no electric bikes on the sidewalk?
So the thought process of that, now that comes down to a prosecution thing.
Yeah.
When they start talking about if they're pedaling or they're not pedaling, in the statute it does say if they're assisting with the pedaling and certain things, but the statute needs to be updated. It's on my list to try to talk to council about, to say none of those vehicles at all on the sidewalk at any time. If you have an assisted bike, we're not worried about the prosecution part of it, to be very honest with you. The idea of this is probable cause to stop somebody and have a discussion with them.
Right.
And that's something I talked to LCSO about. You understand probable cause.
Right.
Down here, they talk about prosecution. Prosecution is not the enforcement branch's issue. Probable cause is to at least have a conversation. So that's why I made the sign that way. I can send you a copy of the sign so you can see it too. I'll send you what we created.
Okay.
Right now they're created, so I can't change them, but in the future, we're gonna create more. If you think something else should be on there, let me know. We did put the ordinance on there so people do understand it.
Well, okay, let me ask you this, because we're talking about it. You know, you sent that path of the bike lane path, and then I think Frankie said they were meeting with somebody, not a developer, but like a city planner, maybe 2 weeks ago, that was going to look at, is there a way that we can create another new path
Yeah.
to, you know, if you really, like, let's go back to her idea. Like you said, there's so many logistics here. The biggest issue is you can't have the golf carts on the street. They've got to have their own lane. And honestly, it's great on the south end up to Red Coconut for the bikes, but after that, you're kind of out of luck as well. And that's where we're bottlenecking up, and people are getting on those bikes so they can get up to the north end of the island. So if we, and if there is a way that we can take some small part of land, somebody said, can't we test over the summer that we take one of the sidewalks and we turn it into a bike lane and a golf cart lane, going north only, and then the one side is walking only? They're coming up with just ideas going, what can we do?
You're talking about down in the downtown district?
Like from
Everywhere.
Red Coconut up.
Yeah.
Okay, you think of that traffic. You never have a problem going south, so it's always coming north. If there is a way to come up with a route, we test it. If it's on the sidewalk, golf cart and small motorized vehicles, golf carts, you know, we're seeing trucks and now on there, you know, the mailman could use it. I mean, the city could say, we're gonna allow federal mail to go, well, the mailman, hypothetically. You've got all that empty lot, all those empty lots, even if you graveled it and say, we're doing a small 10-foot path from here to here, we're gonna, you know, find a pathway, figure out where they dump out. Will it eliminate some type of the northbound traffic? It also could accommodate rickshaws, that people are on the south end and they don't have a golf cart, but you have those companies and you've got them all over the big cities that someone's riding a bike, and it's usually electric now, which makes it faster, which is great though. They can get up to the north end, no car. I think with so much destruction on so many pieces of property, I mean, maybe there's a part where they cross Estero and they get on the beach side because there's some more land over there. I don't know, but I know that.
This would take a city planner.
Exactly, and
With an
that's what they said.
Yeah, with
Well,
an
that's what-
objective to
well,
map out some
yes.
kind of potential path.
Right.
And that's what Frankie had said, or maybe Andy said it. Somebody said it.
Yeah,
That
we did I think it's part of that R2P2 project, so we had
Yes.
some site visits
Yeah.
2 Fridays ago. So we gave them a copy of that plan too, so I think they're taking a look at it, and we should know more, I'd say, by your next meeting of their ideas on it as well.
That'd be great.
Is that something that this committee could advise on? Because we're always looking at, like, how do we?
Yeah, I mean, I think y'all should have a copy of that plan as well, so feel free to take a look at it. We can always add it to the next agenda to look over as well, or today. If
We'd love to
everyone's
hear
looked
what
at
they
it.
have to say.
Yeah.
This is the perfect type of plan that if the city is starting to look at something like that, I guarantee you the people who live here will be thrilled. And I really do. I think people will be like, oh my God, we're coming up with a unique solution. Let's try it. And eliminate some of this bottlenecking, as people are getting so frustrated.
Yeah, and part of that whole R2P2 is a lot of the community engagement as well, so they're going to hold public meetings and talk to
Yeah.
council and workshops and all that too, and I think that would be a great time that we can all kind of combine and give opinions and everything on that too. So I believe at this step, they all came out and did site visits to actually get a look at the island
Okay.
and see the traffic, and it was actually the Friday right before Shrimp Festival, so they saw, you know, how
Perfect.
busy it can be.
How crazy,
The farmers
yeah.
market in Times Square and everything, so they got a really good picture of anybody that isn't familiar with the beach. They got to go take a look at everything, and now we just wait for them to hear back. So I imagine we're gonna hear back soon, and
Okay.
we'll let you know.
I just think that would be such a home run for this town overall.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing that people could figure out a way to get up north. And
It would change things.
it would change things and would give people another
Dramatic.
option to, you know, if you don't want to ride a bike, you can get in a golf cart, you can get in somewhere else, but you can still get up north.
To be clear, you're looking, sorry,
Go ahead.
to be clear, you're looking to have, like, coming through with new planning and permitting, where people who are gonna come up with a new, say the Neptune, let's use the Neptune right here.
Okay.
They're gonna redo that space, part of their plan would have to be, they'd have to create that lane in front of their facility.
I think, okay, that was one of the things I brought up in that meeting, is I think all of this new development, Red Coconut, anything that's coming down, that we ask for 8 feet of a pathway, or whatever this width is.
It's gonna be 10.
10 feet, whatever it is. Yeah, of a
can tell you that
pathway,
right now.
you have to give it to us. That's part of this, of a give back. We want that. And then there's some lots that you can tell, some of the smaller ones, that I don't know how they're going to, I don't know how they're gonna rebuild on there. I don't know if there's tax breaks you can give to people. Let's say there's between two houses, it's a little wider than normal or something. Hey, we'll give you X, something off that we can cut through your yard. Is it really gonna bother people? I don't know. I don't know how far north it needs to go. I don't know how far north it can go, because we do shrink a little bit at the north end, like right around Lani Kai and those places. There's a couple little spaces. You can come out at Palermo, but once you hit the Whale, there's a bottleneck there, so you're coming all out by Margaritaville again. But I don't know. So that I'm not. But if there is a way that we can come up with, that people can get up here from the south end without getting in a car and sitting there, and I think the residents would, and guess, it would just become an accepted use. And it only needs to be north. It does not need to go south. It's always north. So that, I mean, anyway, there's that.
And I'm trying to connect this committee and why that's important to us. You know, because traffic is one thing.
Sure.
So from a public safety standpoint, it's people that get frustrated when they're sitting in traffic.
Yeah.
They do things like pass in the wrong lane.
They do stupid
They
things.
do stupid
They
things.
get on the sidewalk.
And this is what, exactly. So what we're trying to, from a committee standpoint, I'm just trying to connect
Sure.
those and say, why is it important to us? It's
Right.
because when people are stuck, they are doing the wrong thing.
Right.
They're, you know, and putting pedestrians possibly in harm's way if they're passing or doing things because they're frustrated because they're sitting in traffic too long.
Right.
It's creating altercations on the roadway.
Yeah.
at like
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Okay. My God, it's cold in here. All right, so I kind of want to add, all right, so we're on member items. I'm gonna let you guys start, because I got a long list. Or do you want to start, Kieran?
My only one is I'm looking over the notes from the joint meeting with town council and just wanted to see if, because I wasn't there, what came of that. I'm looking at the notes here, but is there a synopsis that how things, where they left us or with a mission of any kind, or?
One of the things that they discussed with us, they brought up, one of the things that happened during this meeting is there was a lot of things that we've talked about that the town would stand up and say, we're already doing this. We've already got somebody working on that. We ordered those signs months ago. And so that was one of the reasons why Tom became involved now with our committee, because we felt like we want to get answers. And our goal as a safety committee is to push those answers out to the community. And some of the things they're doing is actually beneficial, that everybody knows what's going on. Like, you're complaining about this. Well, they've ordered them. It's just going to take 10 weeks to get here. So that kind of thing. Some of the ideas that they came up with was a neighborhood watch program, starting to re-promote that. They came up with, we talked about this traffic issue that we were discussing. We talked about Jim's hurricane plan and how we're into that thing, which we'll get into that. I'll let you talk about it. We talked about creating barriers, and I think the town was looking at things along the sidewalks to direct the pedestrian traffic the way we want it to be directed, and which is the best kind of barrier. And I know the town had some updates in which they can, we'll have Tom talk a little bit about that. I'm trying to think what else besides that. Oh, one of the things that they said is I should be going in, or one of us, we can take a turn, need to go into the town council meeting. I don't know if they said once a month.
Yeah.
Once a month, we send somebody in and we give our update of what we want them to do to recommendation. We've been discussing this. We're really hoping, hypothetically, we're hoping that you take this bull by the horns. Let's say we're talking about traffic. We really want this study done with R2P2 to say, where are we at with, we want to come up with some ideas. Second one, we are going to be talking with the Neighborhood Watch, or like promoting with POI Neighborhood Watch and giving neighborhoods the tools of where they need to go to set them up, things like that. So we would do that communication. And then, is there anything else I'm forgetting? I think that of all of them. Go ahead.
That seems to have covered most of it.
Yeah, that was most of them. I think there was one area was around advising for the police department. So one
Oh,
of the points that were made was like, we can be that advisors to what the police department focuses on. And it's also related to like, could be an infographic of what are those trends, what's going on. But
Right.
then it plays into also traffic, pedestrians, right-of-ways, and so it was kind of this linkage between the community and the police department. We could be advisors to that.
Yeah,
That's
to
one
the
of those.
community policing, yes.
Okay.
Think of ideas. So I think maybe we need to like make some notes, like for a new agenda, like we need to put on neighborhood watch.
Yep.
Yep.
I'd like to put it under, maybe it's under public safety campaign. It's almost like a bullet, like 1, 2, 3, 4, or no, do you want it separately?
I think we could just do them separately.
All right.
So we have like neighborhood watch
Yep.
that we'll start working on, the community policing.
Okay.
What was the other ones? That we had.
Any placing, we've got,
We talked about the electronic signage with Jim.
Right, we can put that down, yes, that's a good idea.
One of the things that came up at the meeting was, we were working on the stops for the trams, and having information signs and stuff, and that all just got washed away, of course. And now they said the previous administration may not have been terribly excited about those ideas, but this
Right,
administration
tram
might be. So you might want to think about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like it was
Like the code.
Code Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had gotten permission how long ago for them to order that and do that.
We were going to set one up and make it fully operational by the library.
Yes,
And I don't know if it ever
that
got.
had a what is it,
Yeah. And, what, a
the defibrillator thing?
Yeah, it would have.
AD, yeah.
AED,
Yeah, I have a defibrillator thing in there, and also a means of communication,
Right.
Right.
calling for help.
Yes.
Or we could also put an information sign in that little thing that provide information to people, if it were done correctly. And
Because we did get the bench and the little shelter
Yes.
on the side there by the library.
for a while. Is it still there? I don't know if it survived.
I don't know. Is the little bench and shelter?
I think that's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, I think it was right, it faced Seagrape
Yeah, it's
Plaza,
gone.
right there
Yeah,
on
that
the
one's
corner.
gone. That's mine now.
Now, that was a real coup on our part, we got that.
That was
Yeah.
right on-
Lasted 6
right
or
on
8
the corner
weeks.
by the library, right?
Yeah. That's something like getting those replaced, like
Yeah.
get that replaced. Like at the major trolley stops, because that's where the little tram comes through there and the trolley, and there's no shade for anybody.
yeah, that was the
Right.
whole point of that.
Yeah.
That's true. And this is really an issue for the whole trolley system. The benches, they had bench, they designed the road to have a place, a stop and benches so people could wait. And when they don't have benches, they go wandering off on other people's property.
Exactly.
And they sit in the grass, or they go sit in somebody's lawn chair that's available because they're waiting for the bus.
Or they find shade, so they're sitting in
Now,
somebody's
they go-
lawn under the
exactly,
tree.
Under a
and-
tree.
The bus
So I
goes
guess
by
my,
'cause they think nobody's there.
Yep.
we probably need to be, the town needs to be pushing Lead-Tran to try to restore the bus stops
I
and,
think that we go through the county for that.
okay.
Because it's on the county sidewalk. If I look back in the notes, I believe that we had to get permission from the county, but I think the town paid for them. Don't quote me on that, but there was something, I'd have to go back in notes.
Yeah. Some of
Have
the
to
stops
pull up
had,
some-
we talked about having covers over them, some of the stops would just be a bench.
And we also talked about at one time, in those little stops, the little shelter things, having like, I'm gonna say a light up board, but kind of like your sign.
Yeah.
With different information,
Right,
in there.
yeah. So we
As
could-
well, so-
It's a means of communicating with people
Right.
that are using the system.
Right. So you can say, there's restrooms located at wherever they are,
Right.
or there's, if you're riding a bike, you need to have lights on your bike. If you're, just like little information things and you could even put like, this festival is coming up or whatever, like a little town advertising thing in
Yeah,
there.
Exactly.
For the Code Blue stations, you were talking about installing an AED into those spaces?
Yeah,
That was just a thought we had talked about, maybe
Yeah,
having
there-
one at that location.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the locations we were, because we were gonna do like a test location we wanted.
That was the one. That was
And
the
that was the
library.
one, yeah, it was the library
By the
one.
school.
It was like a test location, but then we eventually wanted to put them, have like 4 or 5, or I don't remember how many it was,
Right.
throughout the island on the bus stops, so that, and make people aware of where they were if somebody needed something.
Challenges with AEDs for the public are that you have to, you still, even under the Good Samaritan space, you still have to have some training to use them, even though they're self-guided the whole way.
Right.
That might be an issue with the AED.
Yeah,
right? So
well,
just
there
to be
was
clear.
also, we also had, where, you could literally call 911 from there.
Right.
Yeah.
You could call 911 from there, and they would know, like, we would put in, it was like a number or a code that they could, because people don't always know where they are.
There's
They're
usually-
frantic, so we were gonna put like B25, I'm saying. And then the 911 would know where that was or whatever. There was something like that we were working on. And then they could always walk them through.
Frankly, if we were thinking, that could all be handled by cellular communication. They would know as soon as
Right.
they answer the phone exactly where you're at.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, even if we were thinking we wanted to put a phone in there, kind of like my elevators, they have a button and you think you're talking to the elevator, but it's really a cellular phone and it's got an antenna on the outside of the
Right.
building. So they know exactly where you are.
Right.
A lot of college campuses have those,
Yes.
so it'd be
In
just
in
kind
the
of.
old days, it was a
mimicking-
wired phone, so you
Yeah.
had to tell them, well, I
Right.
think I'm, you know,
Now it has GPS.
yeah.
But that would be something, I think it's a cost thing, cost benefit, you know?
Hey, we got money.
And it's, well, because here's the deal, it's like, would I be running trying to find one of those or just pick up my cell phone?
I know there's an assumption every single person has a cell phone,
Yeah.
but they don't.
Yeah.
Or they did, but they left it on the beach, or they left it in their car,
Right.
or,
Or they're, because there were a couple incidents where people were walking and they got overheated and they didn't have their phone with them and they needed help, and there they could just go there and be like, I need help.
yeah. They're not that expensive. Like, we put cellular communication in our elevators for about $2,000 a piece.
Yeah, that's,
Apologies for the phone, by the way, it's an emergency assistance line, so I
That's
have to
okay.
keep it on so I can hear it.
It's okay.
Oh, you're fine.
yeah,
I'll
that's fine.
silence it, it's not important.
Did that answer your?
Wow.
Yeah. Did we answer your question?
Thought it was
Gary?
kind of a simple question, didn't realize we were heading down that rabbit hole.
It was a
Okay.
good meeting. It gave us some direction, and
There's the answer.
More importantly, I think it gave us a lot of encouragement.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we may not hit on everything that we're gonna eventually settle on down the road, but we want you here, we want to work with you,
Right.
Yeah.
and some of the ideas you had in the past may work better now than they would have
Than
in
they
the past.
did before, yeah.
Right.
It feels like now we actually have a purpose.
Direction.
A direction and a purpose. I mean, we can actually change our agenda.
yeah, thank God.
I've been seeing this same agenda
Oh, it
for
drives me nuts.
years. We have, yeah.
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 And I guess the last thing I would offer would be hearing the conversations about bike lanes, golf cart lanes, all that kind of stuff. I think the thing we need to remember is the fact that everything available to everybody in the island is at Publix and North. There is nothing south of that.
Yeah.
The only thing.
Yeah, hopefully.
So what
Right.
I'm saying is that everybody who lives south of Publix has to go to at least Publix or North for doctors, dentists, food, beverage, entertainment. So I think
Unless they go to Bonita.
Unless they go,
or
unless they
Flippers.
go off.
They go to
on-
Flippers.
Right.
That's the first place you're gonna go to eat is Flippers. So putting that, keeping in mind you want traffic to move, I think we all just need to show a little bit of patience until Santini opens, until any other facilities open on the south end where this people living on the south end have a place to go.
Right.
Because right now, everybody's barreling toward the north end, and that's where we're getting this massive traffic clog. I don't know that everybody wants to pin it on Margaritaville Light at Crescent, Yeah, sort of, but really it's the volume of people trying to leave the island who have come for visiting, and then the people on the south end who are looking to go
And the
somewhere.
construction
And
traffic.
construction.
Yeah.
And contractors
That's huge.
heading out at 3 o'clock every day.
And that'll
Yeah.
continue for the next 5
We've
years.
got
Anyway.
5 years of this, and that's why if we can come up with ideas that are unique to eliminate, like I think you're the one who said in the meeting, you know, you look at some big cities where they say, okay, at 2 o'clock, this road flips.
Yep.
And we've got
Right.
the middle lane, so the middle lane and the right lane are all going north, and the only way you can turn left is there's certain
Yes.
turnaround places. So, like, I can't turn on, it won't let me turn on Palermo after 3 o'clock. I have to go down 4 more blocks and then flip up, or something like that. I mean, that might be
It
the
doesn't
answer,
have to
but.
be every day, but it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's,
Right.
you know,
You
you
have-
put those things.
Again, that takes a great transportation engineer.
It does,
To come
it's
in and look
huge.
at your situation.
Yeah.
Who has experience in other
Yeah.
areas that have done the kind of issues we're talking about. And he has ideas. He can, like a cadre of ideas, and he can say, well, that won't work here, but this might work here.
Right.
And so forth. But we're not gonna probably be able to sit around this table and dream up
Got it.
a solution. That's not really it's not in our wheelhouse.
Right.
Tom, I did have a question for you while you're here.
Yes, sir.
Our contract with the sheriff's office to provide traffic direction at the Crescent Street light, I'm hearing a lot of feedback that many days they go there and there are no police officers, or the police officers are sitting in their car allowing the light to manage the traffic. And it is the opinion of those individuals that it's not very effective. It's much more effective if you have an active person who is directing traffic and holding pedestrians longer, not allowing the light to flip to red every 30 seconds every time somebody pushes the button. Turn the light off, put it on flash, that's what we used to always do. When you're gonna put a man in the street, and let the officer handle it, or whoever's directing the traffic handle it. So what is our contract? Can the town get involved in that? Can your folks get involved in this yet? I know the sheriff they got deputies, sworn deputies, as well as their volunteers. So if their volunteers can be trained to direct traffic, why can't we do the same thing?
So under Florida law, within FDOT, we can assist with traffic. My people already went through the flagger training. We've already put them all through that. Every ranger here has now gone through that training. We can assist at crosswalks, and we can assist at intersections in an event of emergency. You have to be an employee of a law enforcement organization to do lighted intersections. Now, that's just the way FDOT does it. So that's with any training. That's why you see all my people at the basic flagger training, which is a 6-hour course. We've done that already. We assisted at Shrimp Fest.
Right.
Down at several intersections because it was a special event with emergency conditions. So you'll see my guys were actually handling Estero and Old San Carlos.
So we're totally at the mercy of the county when it comes to the lighted intersection.
In some respect, yes. And do I agree that their PIC standards are a little bit different, point of impact for control? They're a little different, and I would have a little more conversation with Lawler about it, Tim. Just because sometimes, yeah, they are sitting in their car, and they shouldn't be sitting in their car, especially when they're under contract. So that would be something, if you do see that, please take a photo.
Well, this past weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the light was on normal control, and there was nobody out there, Saturday and Sunday. Yesterday, on Monday, the light was yellow, and to me,
That's a manpower issue, and that's
Yeah.
with CSO, and yes, we are at we are kind of at
Mercy?
not the right word, yeah.
yeah, but there were 3 sheriffs standing on the sidewalk between the beach and, or between the pool and La-di-da on Sunday. Why weren't they out, you know, why didn't they?
They're assigned-
Different duties, different
They
duties.
were
Yeah.
different assigned posts.
Yeah.
And so
But-
a lot of the sheriffs
yeah.
you're seeing down here right now are down here for spring break.
Spring break duties.
It's-
Yeah.
They're safety roving patrols,
Yeah.
so they can't take over PIC. They have to be out
Yeah.
there available to handle runs. And I will say this, they were busy this weekend. The sheriff's department was running just like my people were running. We had fights, we had, you know,
Disturbances.
issues,
Yeah.
disturbances. We had altercations on the roadway that we all responded to try to subdue and handle. I'm not making excuses for it. I'm
No.
just saying that it's probably a manpower issue right now. And that's something that would have to be addressed through the town council, I think, with them addressing the contract.
Right.
So,
It just seems to me if we're gonna put them there, put the light on flash and let them do their job.
Yeah.
And if they're, you know, if they can't, there does come a point, it's a judgment call, I think, when it's like the light itself would handle this better than me, because the traffic flow has reduced enough. But the problem we always have is pedestrians are activating that light.
That's our
Puts that
biggest-
light into red.
Oh.
biggest issue there is not motor vehicles at the end of the day.
It's the
our
pedestrians, and then if there is no
Yeah.
policeman there, and we saw this all weekend, they just walk.
Yeah.
They treat it like the way, or they do not sit and wait for it to turn. They don't, you better stop, and they don't care.
Yeah.
And we've trained them in the past. You hit a crosswalk, you just walk, and the cars have to stop.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you go to Chicago, nobody ever crosses the street when it says don't walk. You wait and you're like cattle and you go in and out. We have conditioned these people, especially people who've been here a long time, they'll walk out in the middle
Or
of
they
it.
come off.
And I don't know if there's a clever way to create signage, something clever that we put on the signs. We're trying to keep this traffic moving. We ask you if you're walking, please wait till the sign flips.
I mean, do we put railroad crossing
that-
things?
Yeah,
up?
well, really.
Well, that comes
Something
down to
clever.
your message boards.
Yeah.
Again, please be conscious of crosswalks, pay attention to traffic.
Yeah.
And do something clever
Yeah.
where you see the car run a stick man over or something.
Exactly.
It sounds silly and it sounds terrible in some respect, but that's what gets attention.
Right.
Right.
You know?
Well, or like you see them, they pushing the button by the one going to Times Square, and you're like, okay, that doesn't work. And they're just, pushing, and you're like, okay. And then at what point does the cars stop for them? Because nobody's stopping then.
But even the Margaritaville staff, I've seen them crossing the sidewalk instead of using the bridge.
I
Now,
agree with that. 100%.
Yeah.
I understand it to some extent with if you're pushing a cart or whatever, and you can't wait for the elevator or whatever, that's one thing. But for just somebody that's, a la-di-da employee or a pool employee, just,
Would it behoove us to have the director of security from Margaritaville get invited to come to one
Yeah,
of
we
these?
should. That's a
Yeah.
good idea.
You know what I mean? Have him come in and just have that discussion. He's a retired police officer from the east coast of Florida. He's a very nice guy. He I'm sure, be more than happy to take recommendations.
I think if we had if they put the light on flash and the deputies are directing traffic and they are holding pedestrians, you're gonna see more pedestrians say, I don't know how long he's gonna hold me, I'll just go up to the bridge.
Yes.
Because it's very close
Yes.
at that intersection.
Even if we took ambassadors, for lack of a better expression, from them, Margaritaville, hey, just so you know, there is a flyover, if you'd like to take
Yeah.
that trip.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you can offer it, you can't
Can't force
You
people.
can't force it, but you could offer it even with some signage, and that's something we can talk to him about.
Yeah.
Save yourself some time, take the flight.
And burn
take the
off that
walk.
margarita.
Yeah, it's something, and Margaritaville's been very helpful. That's something you can put as a sandwich board out there. Look up, save a minute, walk across, or something like that. That would be something they would probably be more than happy to create if we had a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Because I will say that was one of my comments. Like I saw there were a group of girls playing volleyball right by the Margaritaville sign, and they're bumping, and I'm watching that ball go into the street, and they'd run out and grab it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is not safe. So, and I know it's spring break, so.
Yes.
Okay, so I've added these things for our agenda, which I'll make sure Jason has them. Or, well, I'll
Jason's
email.
gonna help me send it to
I'll send it to Jason, don't worry. All right, we're going through member items. Okay, down with Kieran. Heidi?
I don't think I have anything, just because it was the agenda and we can start working that way, so I'm good.
Okay. Mine were pretty much addressed already, except for I did see on Vanderbilt Beach Road, I thought this was a clever idea, similar to the sign. They have beach parking there in your Naples, and there is a sign that says there are 55 spots left, and as each car, 44 spots left. And I'd love to see something like that as people are starting developing these parking lots. That's the kind of thing that, it almost like you make a requirement. If you have a parking lot, you know, you have to have this electronic signage or something that we can feed into something at the, I'd love to see it way farther off the island. Currently, the beach has 200 parking spots available, or currently the beach has 5 parking spots available. You'd probably want to park and ride or do
Weren't-
something different.
Weren't they working on something like that?
They talked, well, you know what, they were talking
Wasn't
about
there an
that.
app?
There was an app they were working on, the town was.
That actually was created.
Yeah.
We had part of that, the infrastructure to that is very expensive to make that happen. And we actually had to back out of that contract
Okay.
after the hurricane.
Got it.
And I only know that when I came here, that was part of the negotiations. The company was pushing on it and the town was pushing back because of finances.
Okay, so maybe it's something, if town gets richer someday, then we'll start adding those kinds of
Yeah,
things.
it's a great concept, and
Yeah.
when you usually see those things, that's an individual parking provider.
Yeah.
Could be the town, because we go through Passport, and it's
Yeah.
something I can address with Passport to see if
Yeah.
that service is available just for ours.
Yeah.
It wouldn't include private lots, it
Yeah.
wouldn't include any of the other stuff without them diving in willfully, and I don't see that happening.
But that could even be part of that signage that we talked about before you go on the bridge. Lonnie County parking lot full. You know, it's like, it's all these lots that people normally go and they realize, wow, everything's full. Maybe I need to take a parking spot
Yeah.
before the bridge.
Exactly, or, yeah. Okay, where was my other thing? Okay, that one he addressed, we addressed that. Okay, that was it for me.
Only bill that I have was, during that meeting I was listening to, there's, our role within public safety is kind of this liaison and advisor role from the community side to possibly Tom and then the council. So one thing that we went to, and you guys talked to the council about like what's our role. One other idea I thought was, how do we go to the community and ask them for ideas? So I was thinking maybe working with the PIO to maybe put 1 month would be ask the community for their thoughts on public safety. Could be a good way of just engaging, because we don't see them coming into this meeting that often, but how do we engage them through like an online survey where they can put their ideas of what they're seeing, and that could kind of feed into, you know, the things that we work on as well. So I thought it was a two-pronged, great. We went to town council, now we're engaged with Tom, but also let's hear from the people that live here, and a good way of doing
That's a
that.
great idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
I can send her an email and ask her.
I don't mind doing that because I've fallen
Okay.
up with her on the
Then you
that
can do that?
hurricane
All right.
preparation.
I'll say-
So I'll talk to her about both of those things.
Okay.
And she was planning to be here, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
Right.
She had to take some PTO, she had to take.
She did, okay.
That's fine.
Okay. That sounds good. Short term, like, or can I reach
That
out
is
to her?
short term, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I actually have a question for Tom, relates to overnight parking on the beach.
So by statute and ordinance, you are not supposed to park overnight in any of our public parking spots in any manner. We stop enforcement on the beach for parking at 9 p.m. most of the time. We used to go to 10, but because we were trying to address some of the issues with letting people get down here and bring people back to the beach, we stopped doing the enforcement at 9 o'clock. So we've asked the Sheriff's Department to address it in some respect. We're still working through that with them, giving them copies of our ordinances, and, you know, it's not such a big issue in our parking lots, to be very honest. Some people do park there, especially some residents. Like, we have residents that live off of Old San Carlos who now are back in some of those spaces, and they've asked for permission, and I find they have no place to put their vehicle at night, so we've allowed some of that in public spots. Only not through a contract or anything, just kind of allow me.
Because I noticed at 16, that there was a RV from Massachusetts that had been parked there for a little while.
With the handicap
Yeah.
tag in front, yeah. He moves around,
Yeah,
and we've moved him on many times. This is his temporary home right now, and he'll stable there. He waits till 9 o'clock to go set up, and then he stays there, to be very honest with you.
He'll
But-
probably come to Palermo next.
Yeah, he'll move around, and we have moved him on. He's been issued summons. We've done some stuff. He does not appear to be a threat in any manner.
right.
He's around. So,
I have one, I forgot, I had written it down. One of the things that we brought up were the derelict buildings, and I know that Frankie had talked about they were going to produce a list, I think, because I think Beach Talk Radio was pushing it as well. And that was one of the things I think I think we should be able to communicate with the people, for example, especially the ones in the high traffic areas or things that are really bad that look like they're gonna fall down. And I don't know if there's an update on that. I saw them working on one downtown, that one on the corner of Old San Carlos and, I always forget the
And
street.
Estero.
there.
It's
Estero.
Fifth
Yeah,
and
Fifth,
Estero.
yeah. So they were working on that surf club that the back wall was falling out. And I don't know if they're tearing it down or if they're trying to fix it, which blows my mind.
so the building officials involved with that, they've actually gone into contract with a different developer that's come in there, the same people who own the other one across the street. They bought that, and they're trying to bring it back. They are demoing part of the building.
Okay.
And you'll notice that the sidewalk's all blocked there.
Yes.
We have some different diversions there for which nobody seems to follow, and they still think they want to walk in the street. But I don't know how much bigger we make the signs, but they're moving around. So that's the kind of stuff we are working on. And now that I've taken, I don't know if you noticed, I took on code as well. So I'm running code for the town as well. So that's one of our major projects.
Good.
I have one officer dedicated to that in particular, and they're working Estero first. So we're going to be doing notice of violation through companies that we've been in conversation with, what's going on, how you doing this, what's moving forward, trying to be the educators as opposed to the hammer. Well, now the hammer's coming a little bit more. So we're violating people. Several different businesses down Estero as well. We've already sent their notice of violation. A couple other ones are coming this week. So we are moving forward.
Good. I think the biggest issue, I'm not, it really is for safety if you think about it. I always just see the ones where, and I'll use the surf club as a perfect example. The land around the surf club is a mess. There's metal and things sticking out everywhere. And when I notice it mostly, if there's nobody on the island, you're just like, okay. But now when you see all these people on the sidewalk and the people are going in taking pictures in the buildings and they're trying to see what happened in there, that's when you start noticing, you're like, oh my, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it is, by all means. And we are addressing it to the best of our abilities at this point.
Great. So that's,
And we're waiting for the attorney to send back a letter we're sending to homeowners and business owners here. It's a courtesy letter basically sent explaining things. And when that comes out, as soon as the attorney approves it, I'll get approval from the town manager and I'll let you see that.
That'd be
We're sending out to.
I just think the biggest thing is communication with the PIO, that they let people know, we are addressing derelict buildings, blah, blah, blah. I think that's what people want to hear. It doesn't even mean for us to approve it, it's really this nice communication, like, we're not letting this slide, everyone. We know these things aren't safe, we are taking steps, and I know Dan brings those comments up in some of the town council meetings, but then you may not hear about it, and you guys are doing so many things behind the scenes, and it's just good to know that, like, they're addressing it, be
Right.
patient, it's coming, we're gonna clean up this stuff, we're gonna clean up the way things look. Give us time, we have to follow this protocol.
Yeah, and it's all about protocol. And it's all about going through the operation of compliance, and there's a lot of legal backside to that we have, where we have our obligation in a certain way to do it a certain way.
Right.
So we are working on that, but it does take time. And if the property owner or owners, and that's an issue too with some of this, don't agree, or they're waiting on this or they're waiting on that, and then you also have FEMA issues where FEMA has promised something, and at that point, it kind of locks us up a little bit as to what we're able to do with those violations. So there's a lot of moving parts. Not making excuses, because we know.
No,
Right.
no, but
No.
I think it's just knowledge.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing is
Yeah.
knowledge is key, and people then they're not frustrated, they're like, it's coming, don't, we're working on it, it's not a quick fix.
So they're going to try to restore the surf club or something?
I
That's
don't have that at hand, I can figure that out for you though. Last I knew, there was paperwork sent, so I'm still.
Wow, doesn't
working
seem
on
like a possibility.
There's a lot of buildings that I see that they're talking about refurbishing, and I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the
No.
imagination, so, but I look at them and I'm like, wow, why?
And the other question I had is the Wyndham. I know they're using that property for sand distribution, but that building
That's bad.
it poses a health problem as well as a safety problem because we have a lot of rats in that neighborhood that I don't think would live there otherwise.
And that's part of the contention with the letter that we're sending out too, is it's becoming a vermin issue too for
Yes.
the island as a
Yeah.
whole. So they are still a sand distribution, but that's going to be coming to a close. My understanding is, just from a recent letter I got from the environmental engineer manager, that they're looking to pull back from that, so they're also going to be addressed in their own manner too.
Okay.
That one's bad.
I get a lot of questions about that in particular.
Let me dig into that and I'll have a better answer for you next time.
Okay.
That's the one, I think those are the ones that frustrate most people the most. It's the ones that have done absolutely nothing. There's still junk inside of it. They didn't even try to make an effort to clean it up, and they're just letting it sit there, and we're going on a year and a half.
Well, and the least they could do is post something like on their Wyndham Facebook page or whatever that says, this is why it is like this. We're waiting for X, Y, and Z. Or, like,
You can clean up the
Some of
middle
it could-
part,
yeah.
please.
That particular property doesn't even have a safety fence around the building.
No, there's no safety fence. They haven't done anything, and that's not right. Okay, public comment? No. All right, we're sending our next meeting.
the third. It's the third Tuesday in April.
All right, it is April.
16th.
16th?
That works for me. 16th work for everybody?
This is the 16th of April.
April, okay.
Okay.
I may have to call.
All right, and then.
I'm a question mark on that day.
Okay. And then, I don't have the thing in front of me, but does one of us want to, do we want to go this month to town council? Do we have anything?
I think we should wait until we start our
That's
new
what I was
agenda
thinking.
and get
Yeah.
Okay.
after next.
So we can maybe do it for
after-
May?
May.
Yes.
Okay,
An update of what we're now focused on.
Right,
Got
this
it.
is what we're focused on.
all right, and then
Any,
I will send everything out to Jason, I'll CC you, Tom,
Please.
what I wrote out, and then we can send out for proofing. I'd like to have it proofed beforehand, and then, because I don't want to, like, I sent this out and I asked for some things removed on this, and nothing happened, so, because that bicycle thing gave me a headache.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned.
I will say,